Hey family. So the word that God gave me for this week is do not interfere with what God is trying to do, okay? Never interfere with what God is trying to do, okay? So I was reading Ezra, and the verse that he had stood out to me was chapter 1. It's verses 21 through 31, okay? So, in this chapter, they are talking about Josiah. He is currently king, and he is doing everything right. He's following God's laws and commands. He's holding all the feasts that God tells us to have throughout the year. It says that he had the biggest and best Passover in Jerusalem, right? The best that, it hadn't been seen in a while since Prophet Samuel, right? So he's doing everything right. But what he failed to do is, what led to his demise is he interfered with what God was trying to do. Okay? So in chapter 1, verse 25, it says, "Now all these acts of Josiah, it came to pass that Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, came to rise war at Carchemish upon Euphrates, and Josiah went out against him. But the king of Egypt sent to him, saying, What have I do with thee, O king of Judah? I am not sent out from the Lord God against thee, for my war is upon Euphrates, and now the Lord is with me. Yea, the Lord is with me, hasting me forward. Depart from me, and be not against the Lord. Howbeit Josiah did not turn back his chariot from him, but undertook to fight him, not regarding the words of the prophet Jeremy spoken by the mouth of the Lord, but joined battle with him in the plain of Megiddo. And the prince came against King Josiah, then said to the king unto his servant, Carry me away out of the battle, for I am very weak. And immediately his servant took him away out of battle. Then gat he up upon his second chariot, and began brought back to Jerusalem, died, and was buried in his father's sepulchre. Okay, you can also find this in the Bible. Okay, that was in Ezra. This is part of the books that was taken out of the Bible. You can also find this in the Bible, in the Old Testament, in 2 Chronicles chapter 35:20. It says, After all this, when Josiah had set the temple in order, Necho, king of Egypt, went up to fight at Carchemish on the Euphrates, and Josiah marched out to meet him in battle. But Necho sent messengers to him, saying, What quarrel is there, king of Judah, between you and me? It is not you I am attacking at this time, but the house with which I am at war. God has told me to hurry, so stop opposing God who is with me, or he will destroy you. Okay? So, one thing I learned about God on this journey is he will always warn you. He will always give you a warning. Okay? He gave Adam a warning. He said, do not touch of this tree or you'll surely die. Okay? Because if you read the book of Adam and Eve, it tells us God created us to be like angels. We was never meant to die. We had this glow about us, okay? Bodies was banging, hair was flowing. I'm just playing. But seriously, we had this glow about us. We didn't have to eat. We could eat, but we didn't have to. We didn't have to survive, okay, to live. We didn't have to drink anything in order to live. It was after we sinned that we had to eat and drink in order to survive, okay? So, God warned him, and he still messed up, right? God warned Noah of what was coming, and if Noah had not been obedient, guess what? He would have been destroyed right with everybody else if he would not made that boat, okay? So, God will always warn you. And it's important to be obedient, okay? Because Noah was obedient to what God warned him, he was saved. So Josiah, he was this great king. He did everything right, but he got a warning. Okay? God had sent Pharaoh, okay? He was using Pharaoh to destroy the Euphrates or Babylon because they was getting too powerful. So he was sending Pharaoh to try to destroy them. And Josiah was interfering. He was getting in the way. Okay? And because he was a great king and because he was doing everything right, God warned him. But because he wasn't listening, because he wasn't obedient, he got destroyed. He got killed. Right? God also gave Joshua these same warnings, right? When he was taking them to the promised land, he told them which, I guess, countries or which, people that they could overtake. He was like, you could, attack these people and take their land. He will also say, don't attack these people because these are my people also, and I will not be with you. I will not protect you because I have to protect them because they're being obedient to me as well, right? So if God is doing something and you get in the way, you're going to get destroyed. That's what happened to the 200 fallen angels, right? God said, you can read this in the book of Giants. He told them that he was going to have to cast them out of heaven, right? That he was going to destroy them and their seeds because they interfered with his purpose. He said those women had husbands. He had created husbands for those women. Right? Why is that so important? Because God creates each human, right, to have a specific spouse to create the person he wants, right? So Ruth and Obed had to get together to create Jesse, right? So Jesse could be the father of David, right? So these women wasn't going to be creating the people that he had in mind because they had went and married these fallen angels and had demons, monsters, and giants with them instead of the children he intended for them to have, okay? So they interfered with God's plan, so they had to be destroyed, okay? God says, don't interfere with his plans, okay? You could do everything right, but if you interfere with his plans, you will be destroyed, okay? And I have also learned with following God and, studying and walking with him, that it's just better to always talk with him first. See, if Josiah would have took a minute and talked to God first before just making a rash decision, right? Ain't that what he told Saul? When he gave Saul specific instructions, right, to just wait on him, but Saul couldn't be patient, and then he didn't even consult with God before making a decision, and then God told him, you know what, I can't work with you. That's basically what he told him. He's like, I can't work with you because you're doing things differently than what I told you, and then you can't even consult with me first before making a decision, so I can't work with you. I'm gonna have to get somebody different to work with, right? So I have learned that it's always best to just talk with God first before making a decision, right? Because if you talk with him first, it just will eliminate a lot of bad decisions, right? After a while, Adam, after he got kicked out, he started learning to talk with God first before making a decision. Because before, he was just making decisions, and the devil just kept hurting him, trying to kill him, right? After a while, he finally wised up, and he was like, you're telling me God says it's time to go back to the garden, but God told me something different. Let me consult with God first to make sure you are from him and you are giving me the right information, right? So always talk to God first, no matter what information you get, even from me. Talk to God first. Ask him. He gonna give you the answer, and he gonna always give you the truth, because God is the truth. Okay? So I don't know who this message is for, right? But if God is trying to use somebody to fulfill something, or if he is trying to do something in somebody's life to correct them and help them get on the right path, God says, do not interfere with his works, okay? Because if you interfere, you will get caught in the crossfires, okay? I love y'all. Have a great day.